In this course, you've learned how to take photographs. You've also learned how to make a finer selection of your images. And today, in this lesson, we are going to look more at photograph editing, the basic techniques and workflow. We're going to look at the post-processing of images. What is the need for it? What are the various types of post-processing? And what are the features involved in post-processing of images? Mr. Saravanan Janakarajan is going to explain to us the various elements that go into this.
In this session, we'll look at post-processing. We'll look at the need for post-processing, what is post-processing, and also some basic workflows for post-processing. Why do you need to do post-processing? Post-processing is required because your camera sensor has a limited capability to capture vibrance and true colors. This is more true for cameras which are entry levels, and they have very limited capability to capture the colors. So you have to do post-processing on the images from these cameras. The dynamic range of your camera sensor is limited, and the colors which your eyes see or the image which our eyes see, camera is not able to capture. So you need to open up the shadows and highlights to come towards the true image which you had seen. Also, it is required to correct errors and blemishes. For example, you have dirt spots on your lens or on your sensor, you have to remove those, and also to sharpen the picture and remove noise. There are three types of work which you do in post-processing. One is enhancement, one is correction, and one is digital alteration. What is enhancement? Enhancement is the basic work done on the image to increase its color, its white balance, its open up the shadows and highlights, and adjusting the histogram called levels. So these are the steps which you do in enhancement to make the image look better. This is required, like I said, because your camera sensor has a limited capability to capture the image in its true form. Correction is done to remove small blemishes like dust spots on sensor, small disturbance like twigs or wires, etc. in the image. These are small corrections which can be done on your image. It is also required to sharpen your image sometimes because of either the heat waves or your shutter speed. There are various reasons why your image might look blur or a depth of field. So you need to sharpen your images, and you have to remove noise. Please remember, any picture you take, there will be noise because noise is present in the atmosphere. There is no way you can take a picture without noise. Yes, the amount of noise can vary from one picture to the other, but you have to do post-processing to remove noise from each and every picture. The third part of post-processing is alteration. Alteration is addition of elements digitally into the picture, or creating a new background or foreground to make pictures look better, or something we call as digital painting. Now, alteration is a process by which you are going to make the picture look as something which was not in reality. So I would always caution you that Photoshop or any other software has a lot of capability of doing alterations, but as a photographer, you will have to resist the temptation of getting into this domain of alteration. You can always enhance your photo, you can correct your photo, but please don't try and get into this domain of alteration because it is very addictive. You get great images, but what happens is that as a photographer, you start losing the skills and you start becoming more of a digital processing person. Also, as a photojournalist, you have to show what happens in the field. You have to maintain the integrity of your photograph and your reporting. So digital alteration is a method by which you can add or remove something to make the news sensational, but I would always request you to keep away from this. This is just for knowledge. Like I said, golden rule for a photographer is that you should look at enhancement and correction only. Be true to the picture as far as possible. Like I said, the camera has its own disadvantages and its own limitations in terms of capturing the true picture. Your eyes have seen the true picture, so you have to be true to the image which you saw in terms of enhancing colors, opening up the shadows, correcting the white balance, etc. Small blemishes can be removed which are because of the camera capabilities, but please don't digitally modify the image by bringing in elements or changing the background, etc. These are not acceptable in many publications, exhibitions and competitions also. In post-processing, there are various softwares. Now this is an ocean where you can choose software of your liking. Camera manufacturers themselves have dedicated softwares for their images which have little bit of post-processing capabilities, like Canon DPP, Nikon has a Capture NXT, Sony has a Capture One Express. So these are softwares which come free with your camera. There are various image processing softwares which have far superior capabilities than your camera maker softwares, like Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Lightroom, Skylum Luminar. These are softwares which have various capabilities of enhancing, correcting as well as altering your pictures. There are various special purpose softwares which are dedicated to one particular feature of post-processing. Like noise reduction, you have AI denoise. For sharpening, you have AI sharpen. For enlarging, you have AI gigapixel. These softwares will help you do these one particular dedicated job on your image. I hope in this session you understood what are the various post-processing methods, why post-processing is required, and in the subsequent sessions we will see in detail how to do post-processing. As photographers, we said that we will look at enhancement and corrections in post-processing. So we will look at in enhancement, we'll look at white balance, exposure, contrast, highlight and shadow, and in color we will look at hue, saturation and luminance. As far as correction is concerned, we'll look at noise reduction, sharpening and cloning. In subsequent sessions, we'll look at each of these in detail and we'll see how we can use a software to use these features and make your pictures look better.
In this video, we have learnt about the need for post-processing, the types of post-processing, and the features involved in the post-processing of images. We hope that you have understood that why post-processing of images is sometimes necessary. But more importantly, we hope that you have understood that the integrity of your picture must never be compromised at any point of time. We'll continue in the next video.